Alrighty, everybody, this is Win here again, back at you again with another overarching review of Dead Space Remake. As you probably already know, we have approximately 26 days left till Dead Space Remake's announcement, or release in this case, as well as Fire Emblem Engage, which is coming approximately around 6 days before the announcement of Dead Space Remake for the release of it. So, of course, I'm going to be taking the time to fully analyze the 18 minutes of gameplay that are in the first half of Dead Space, which is Chapter 1 through Chapter 2 of Dead Space 1. So this is going to be my perspective on things and, our conversations on whether or not the game looks really good. Obviously, I'll leave a link of the video in the description below. Feel free to watch it. Alright, so this is the beginning of Dead Space 1 with Nicole's voicemail to Isaac. So, pretty much, this is her new face. Of course, obviously, a lot of people have been talking about this new face. And honestly, this face looks hideous. Of course, obviously, the wrinkles and the eyeshadow when it comes to Nicole, compared to and her hairstyle is also doesn't fit Nicole. As you can see back in Dead Space 1, Nicole's face looked a lot younger, as well as her hairstyle was a little bit different, of course. Her hair curled inside instead of outside, kind of more of like a bowl cut in a way. Which, is, if you already know, if you played Dead Space 1 or have read the novels, you probably already know that Nicole's age was, very much come into question, of course. Obviously, from her perspective as a nurse, a lot of people assume her age to be around the late 30s / early 40s in this case, which some people have speculated that why did they come up with this age? Well, for one thing, if you take the age of Isaac, which in this case Isaac is around 46 by Dead Space 3, 43 by the first game, of course. Obviously the art book and the novels fully confirm her age as well. So if you were to solve it in general, typically, then you would automatically have known that Nicole's age is confirmed that way. So again, her voice is okay. I don't think it's perfect compared to the original, but it's a good, faithful recreation of Nicole's voice.
Strange. Such a little thing.
That's right. Nicole,
Yeah, first I've heard from her in weeks.
we're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Fishermer is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls? It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you. I'd listen to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols.
Forewarned is forearmed.
Alright, so with the next few seconds, as you probably already know, Gunnar Wright is back as Isaac Clarke, and listening to him responding to other people is a great, fantastic way of selling that atmosphere. Of course, obviously, with Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, again, Dead Space 3 is pretty shit. Dead Space 2 does it really, really well when it comes to Isaac's perspective, as well as his actions, of course. The emotional atmosphere of Gunnar Wright's voice acting, as well as his decisions, makes the best of atmosphere in this case. Of course, obviously, actions and voice acting and all this other stuff. Again, it comes down to perspective. I think it's a great change when it comes to this remake. I think it's good, but some people may disagree with that. Also, you can also already see Isaac's face as well as his new rig, as well as his armor, as well as Hammond's new actor. Of course, I believe it's changed. All of this is looking pretty good. I don't think there's any changes to the game that were completely unnecessary, except for the girlfriend comment. I do remember Kendra saying some line in relation to that, but I believe the wording was changed a little bit, which I don't mind it, but there are some people that do mind it, and they do think it's an important look around in this case. But overall, the ship looks really well for this atmosphere. Obviously, the grays and the black color and the lighting of this really do sell the atmosphere of the game as well, which I think is really cool. Now, I'm gonna jump to the Ishimura. So this is Aegis 7. Of course, the lighting is very much the same as with the original Dead Space, as well as the rocks, and Aegis 7, of course, the planet, which is in the background, the foreground right here. And as you can see, here is the ship. Again, it's the same look, it's the same atmosphere, it's the same thing. Got nothing else to say, but it looks fucking fantastic. Now, I'm going to skip to a particular part that I'm going to mention.
Take us in.
Let me see. Okay. So, as you can see, Isaac is holding his helmet. As you can see, this is the upgraded rig compared to the original. It looks pretty freaking sick. As well as, also, I did not mention before, Kendra's outfit. Again, compared to the original, Kendra's outfit was a little bit more skimpy and a little bit more skin tight. I think this is an unnecessary change when it comes to Kendra's outfit. Some people did say that it ruins a little bit of the atmosphere as well as the character, but for me, I have no real opinion about this. I'm very neutral, but I do say that this jacket is a little bit unnecessary compared to Hammond and Isaac and literally everyone else that's in here. Why would you be wearing a jacket that's like this when you should be wearing armor like this, like Isaac? Like, it's, I understand because he's an engineer, of course. He's a CEC engineer. This is his standard armor. This is the standard rig that he wears. But when you're looking at Kendra, it's, she's out of place compared to Isaac, which, and the rest of the others. It makes her more, it glows her up compared to the rest of the ship right here, as you can see. But that's just me. The sparks looks really good. The damage of the ship, the glass breaking, it looks pretty good. Alright. Now you get to see Hammond's face in the lighting, as you can see. Again, looks good. Kendra's face looks good. Now, there's Chen's face, of course. Now, if we don't really get to see Isaac's face, but here is the remastered CEC engineer outfit compared to the original. It looks sick. It looks really good. I love the lighting on his helmet. I love the chest piece right here that kind of holds down the armor a little bit. Again, like I said, the chest straps, the shoulder pads, as well as the boosters, which are right here, compared to the original Dead Space 1's booster packs, which were on the legs. Now they're up here as well, giving Isaac more of a futuristic look, which I really like. I love the grays, and I love the suit. This suit looks really cool. As you can see, we're now in Chapter 1, as you can see. Alright, now we're going to go into the USG Ishimura now.
Not a great start to our repair mission.
Now, the USG Ishimura, again, the same logo, same intro. Again, nothing really special. Let me see if we can go past through here. Okay, now, this is where we're going to get into some of the promotional, the artworks, as well as the posters of Dead Space. As you can see, security check-in is mostly the same. But there is one particular thing, as you can see, welcome to flight control. Let me see if I can find. Okay, let me see if I can find this real quick.
Power to the elevator.
For God's sake. That security console's still working. Isaac, get a damage report. I'm done playing around.
Alright, now, as you can see here, I'm going to skip to this section where Isaac is checking on the ship logs, of course. What I really like is Isaac's comment towards this bloodstain, of course, obviously. Again, the atmosphere of the USG Ishimura and the mystery behind the missing crew also play a big important role on, obviously everything else, of course. As you can see, through this screenshot right here, through this picture, Isaac's rig is the same color, of course, but there is a poster that is back here with the welcome aboard sign. And it's completely different. It's most of the promotional artwork in this case compared to the original Dead Space, which I own the art book, by the way. Let me just go grab it real quick to show you the differences. As you probably already have seen, some of the promotional artwork of Dead Space 1 and 2 are completely different, as you can probably already tell. Let me see if I can find a good promotional fan art to compare this to, as you probably have already seen with Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2. A lot of the promotional fan art and culture of Dead Space focuses on more of the early 90s era style of just it's kind of like, oh, we want you for the army type of deal. That type of deal when it comes to that promotional fan art, as well as other artworks and such for Dead Space, is something else entirely that needs to be mentioned, of course, obviously, because if you own the art book like I do, there's a lot of the culture of Dead Space in particular, which again mostly focuses on the early 90s as well as the early 2000s. That culture is still there, as well as all the other pieces like that. And we get to the Church of Uontology. I hope that the posters of the Church of Uontology remain mostly the same. I don't want it to be completely changed. I want it to mostly stay the same for that, which again, that is something that is my personal perspective on Dead Space Remake, as well as comparing it to the original Dead Space, which again, the whole welcome aboard sign, it's mostly up to perspective, but for me, I think it's a decent change, but when it comes to the original, I don't think it's very necessary when it comes to the culture as well as the sparks of Dead Space, which again, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's in relation to that, which if you don't own the art book, it is approximately $20, and it's a very good book. For regular price, it is $34.95 that you can get your hands on this book, which comes with around 200 pages of Dead Space fan art, as well as promotional art as well on top of that, which is really cool. I think it's really good. Most big art books that sell like that typically, that are separate from like special editions and stuff like that, typically are different. But I hope with this game, they release a separate art book for Dead Space 1 Remake, which, again, that is something that I've been wanting to talk about or discuss. Now we're gonna jump towards this part.
Take it easy. Daniels, get those elevators running.
Now, the Necromorphs. Oh yeah, the Necromorphs are back, baby. As you can probably see, this is where Isaac starts to run. The sparks of electricity and them popping out of the vents is really good detail. And, oh my god, it looks fan-fucking-tastic. Now here's the part where Isaac gets jump-scared. Now, in the original Dead Space, Isaac, like, the blood spatters on Isaac, as you can see, look at this. Look at this detail. That is some incredible detail work I've seen on the blood splatters, because technically, Necromorphs are mutated humans, technically. So again, they're very human-like, but they're very alien-like in nature, and having them just explode like that is just, wow. But I would love to see more limbs flying off, legs flying off, like, just when the elevator crushes, I would like to see more arms the Necromorph just exploding, than just having it just disappear from existence compared to the original Dead Space. That's the critique that I have. I would love to see more arms flying off. That is something that Dead Space probably needs to fix if this game were to come out. Now, here is the plasma cutter. As you can see, the atmosphere of the plasma cutter room and cutting off their limbs. It's still the same, but this is another problem that I have with the game. Cinematic cutscenes. How do cinematic cutscenes impact gaming? Well, for one thing, a lot of AAA developers have been moving to more cinematic cutscenes compared to like other video games that have been focused mostly on just being in the room with the game and having it do the cutscene for you and being able to control your character. For me personally, I prefer being able to control my character, because being able to control my character within this cinematic cutscene and being able to control it as well. But seeing Isaac pick up the plasma cutter does help, does make it seem like that he's an engineer, and atmosphere is something that I've already discussed already, but having him test out the plasma cutter here and looking at the plasma cutter just makes it seem more amazing. But now we're gonna go to the train scene. As you can see, this is the around the middle half of Chapter 1, as you can see here.
Oh my god, Isaac. You made it.
They're everywhere. Jen, is he,
He's gone.
Now, the conversation between Isaac and Kendra and Hammond are actually, this is, again, more refreshing for me, obviously, because, again, like I said before, the conversations that these three have compared to the two of them in Dead Space 1, with, Isaac being voiced by Gunnar Wright, it makes it feel more authentic. Again, acting is something that is a big part of horror, as well as that. Having a silent protagonist and having you react is, it's still good, but it doesn't have the same oomph as Dead Space 2 for me, which, again, even though I love Dead Space 1, I own the game, I have the special edition, again, I have it. I'm just hope that this game really does Dead Space 1 justice, as well as bringing in the reactions of the characters, as well as myself, being able to play the game and interact, and being able to get jump scared by this, which, again, it's mostly preference thing. We're going to skip past through, and we're going to go into the kinesis, so we're going to go into the stasis scene. So, let me look at, okay, so, let me see, okay. So this is the beginning of stasis. Again, it's the same cutscene, same animations, but upgraded. Now let me see if I can find... Okay. Dismember it better in this scene compared to the original. We also going to talk about the stomp mechanic. The stomp is the same, but they used bits and pieces of Dead Space 2's stomp compared to Dead Space 3, which I think is a little bit more... bit better, but it's still pretty clunky. I personally would like Dead Space 2 to have more of an authentic stomp than the Dead Space 1's really clunky stomp mechanic, which it's like while you're in a middle scene, you just stomp on someone and then fire your weapon to stop the necromorphs from spreading, which I think is pretty nice. And the credits are there. Sound effects for the plasma cutter are really nice. Now let me see if I can find stasis. Looks really nice. Alright. Let's move to...
Engineering. Vents into engineering. You got a stasis module handy? We need one in tram maintenance stat.
Alright, so one last thing I would like to mention before I end today's video, as well as the IGN's beginning, is the level of detail when it comes to the plasma cutter and the ammunition count, again, and the rig. The rig will change color, and Isaac's animations will change depending on Isaac's health, of course. Obviously, everything that is mostly the same in Dead Space 1 is, again, like I said, mostly the same. I have no real issue with it. Overall, this first 18 minutes of gameplay by IGN, really, 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 really nice, and it's that level is fucking amazing, and I can't wait to play this game when it comes out. I don't know when I'll be able to review this game fully and play through the remake compared to the original Dead Space. I have the original, so being able to play that and being able to play... I don't have it on Steam, but I do have it on console. But with Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, I own on PC as well as on console as well. But it's just that level of authenticity that Dead Space Remake has over the original. But there are some things that I am not excited for. Case in point, cinematic cutscenes is one of the biggest issues I have personally with Dead Space Remake. You should be able to fully move Isaac. That was Glenn Schofield's ideas and ideals for Dead Space 1. I believe, and I want for the Dead Space team to look at it and just like, hey, we should have the player be able to move as Isaac, as well as experience that level of authenticity, as well as, just being able to see the changes of Dead Space Remake. Dead Space Remake should not only be a new game for not only people who have not played Dead Space, but for the OG people who have played Dead Space and know the lore and have experienced the games and I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who have the movies, the books, and the games, as well as the art book. I own the art book. But, again, like I said, it comes down to balancing, not only bringing new players in. Again, a remake's goal is to not only bring new players into that game, but also bringing old players back to this game and reliving that experience, which again, it's a blend of the two, and Dead Space Remake does that perfectly. Again, Resident Evil Remake, again, some of the remakes are good, some of them are terrible. Again, Last of Us is a great example of a shit remake. Be just upgrading the graphics and not changing the story is it's not that great. Spider-Man PS4 remake, again, changing Peter's face was super unnecessary. So again, with Dead Space remake, this is a fantastic looking remake, and I can't wait to play this game. I personally cannot wait. One of the biggest issues I had with a lot of remakes is that they don't put enough effort into adding more content to that game. In the particular case in point, a great example of a really shit remake that does nothing to add to the original story of the game, nor does absolutely fucking nothing, is fighting game remakes that add a little bit of content to a video game, like with DLC is all this other stuff, but they never really change the main story of that game, which is kind of ridiculous. Again, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a great example of this. Just, having them do this and just like, it's nothing, not sort. But with Dead Space Remake, Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered, again, Xenoblade 1, a definitive edition as well. Both those games, I have really high hopes for this game because I love Dead Space and I love the series. I cannot wait to play this game. I cannot wait. But there are some issues that I have with this remake that Dead Space 1 does better, and there are stuff that is in this remake that are better than the original. That's just my personal perspective on this. And anyways, thank you for watching my video. I do have some videos that are going to be posted within this final week of January before I do my usual schedule, which is Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, of course. You might see this video and my reactions, probably later within the week or so when I'm done, when I'm done editing and or making other videos like that in particular, which I hope you guys can see. The Everyday Boys podcast is coming back up. It's starting back up next week on a Friday, of course, at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's also going to be streamed on my Twitch. So you can come to my Twitch channel and you can listen to our podcast late at night and sit back and enjoy us sticking around and having fun. So thank you all for watching my video and my reactions to the first 18 minutes of Dead Space Remake. I'll leave a link to the original video to IGN's First in the description. Again, I will credit them as well as credit anyone else who has their own personal perspective on the game, of course, obviously. But I can't wait to play this game alongside Fire Emblem Engage. I will be making my video and my perspective on some of the clips and leaks of Fire Emblem Engage. Of course, I'll be making more theories and more analysis videos of some of the other my favorite video games out of just generally typically. So again, like I said, you'll be seeing that, and I can't wait for this year. This year's gonna be one good hell of a good year. So yeah. So take care, everybody, and this is Win signing off.